All right, see two people in here. I'm gonna probably wait till right about 7 to actually start talking, give people some time to get in. How are you guys doing tonight? 411, Jason, how are you guys doing? Staying warm, yeah. I'm in the house. I'm not doing my videos outside like I normally do. It's too cold out. I'm going to try. I'm not the best of explaining things. I grew up in a time where you we didn't have internet net. You had to actually research things, and it was a totally different time back then. Not to mention, I grew up in a time when your parents told you something, you just did it, you didn't question it. I'm old. Most of you guys aren't, and I don't know what's going on. How you doing, Wisconsin, Alex? Um, YouTube. It's not YouTube. Everybody says YouTube doesn't promote videos and that. If you put out content people want, YouTube doesn't have to do anything. They just the people will share it, like it, subscribe. I'm going to try and keep this live short because unless you got gigantic hooters or unless you're bent over dog style and somebody's firing a rifle off the crack of your butt, or you're doing some kind of TikTok video with blowing fart bubbles out your nose, um, 6 to 10 minutes is about the average time people view a video. Not everybody, but most people. Attention spans are extremely short, or unless you're busting out information that just happens to be trending, like the whole Sam Shoemate thing. But we'll go ahead and get into this. Some people got really, really butthurt that I said don't support Johnson. People need to let Trump know that we don't want Johnson as Speaker. The first comment I got was, "Do you want Jeffries to win?" This is why we're in the position we're in, because people don't understand how our government works and how the politics work. The only way Jeffries could have gotten the speaker position was he would have had to get 218 votes. Every Democrat voted, and they could only get 216. That means some Republicans would have had to go over to the Democrat side, and that would have been career suicide for them. I don't think any of them were dumb enough to do it. The other comment I heard was, if Johnson doesn't get speaker, voted in a speaker, Trump can't take office. My comment to that was, read the 12th Amendment and the 20th Amendment of the Constitution. And I forgot to mention and I always get this wrong, the, sorry, I had to write notes, the Electoral Count Reform Act of 2022. I'm not going to get into all the details of it because I'm not that good at memorizing stuff, and I'd be sitting here looking at notes. But basically, under the 20th Amendment, the only way they can stop Trump from taking office is under the 14th Amendment. That's why you keep seeing on X all the Democrat supporters and that screaming, use the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment covers insurrection, and it covers mental cognitivity, or whatever, however the hell you say that word. Both of which they cannot use against Trump because Trump has already won that battle and they tried to keep him off of ballots in the courts. So they could not use the 14th Amendment. It specifically says in the 20th Amendment that at noon on January 20th, that the president will step down and the president elect will step into that place. People think that you have to certify the election in order for him to take office. The electoral college votes have already been determined. They are Trump's. It's 312 to whatever, 2 whatever it was. Kamala already conceded. He's been being called by both sides the president elect. So no matter what, he would take that position. This whole certification and that is pretty much a ceremony. They could contest it, but they can't even do that now because the rhinos and the Democrats are so stupid that they passed the Electoral Reform Act, which is the ECRA of 2022, which made it pretty much impossible for them to stop Trump. And I'm sure that they did it because they thought that they would use that. They thought they were going to win this election no matter what, and they would use that to stop anybody from contesting it. This lies the problem we have. Most people don't know the Constitution. I don't know all of it. I forgot a lot of it, but Lenawee County Community or Lenawee Community College here in Michigan used to offer a Constitution class, and they used to give free pocket-sized Constitutions out. When taking that class, they had experts in that would explain the Constitution to you. And here lies the problem. Most people anymore don't even understand the Constitution. Most have probably never even read it. The first two things that any person should get once they get into middle school is a Bible and the Constitution. I haven't read the Federalist Papers, and I'm going to because a lot of people tell me that there's a lot of good information in that. So one of these days I'm going to get around to reading the Federalist Papers. But whether you're Christian or not, if you live by the Ten Commandments, the world would be a lot better place. And if people understood how their own government works and how the Constitution works, we would be in a whole lot better place. Our own politicians, Republican and Democrat, keep referring to this country as a democracy. So anybody under Gen X doesn't even realize that we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. We just vote democratically. They're trying to remove the Constitution out. They can't do it by voting or anything else. Probably will in 30, 40 years when all of us are gone and it's just a younger generation. They'll probably be able to get away with doing it. But right now they can't get rid of the Constitution. So they're trying to train the kids coming up to believe this crap that we're a democracy. You'll never hear them say constitutional republic, or very few of them do. And that's where we need to get the information out to people. Squirrel Tribe, my wife loves that channel. She watches it. I watch it quite a bit. That lady did a video earlier today explaining the 12th, the 20th Amendment, the Electoral Reform Count Act. And I mean, she explained it so good that even me, who was illiterate until he was 25, was able to understand it. Pretty much, it's impossible for them to stop Trump from taking office on the 20th. But here also lies the problem. We have rhinos and Democrats telling people stuff that's not true. Surprise, surprise. They're the ones saying that Trump can't take office unless we get a Speaker of the House. He absolutely can. But these are also the same people that tried to pass a bill with money for Ukraine, money for Israel, money for 10 other countries, um, Taiwan, and every place else, but nothing for hurricane victims. They tried to pass raises for themselves while the rest of us struggle, but nothing for the Hawaiian people. The same people that tried to pass legislation legalizing insider trading in the government. And a week ago, people were calling Johnson a rhino and a POS. And then all of a sudden, because Trump endorsed him, now all of a sudden he's the savior. I like Trump, voted for Trump all three times: 2016, 2020, 2024. Trump is just a man, though. He's not the second coming of Jesus Christ. Trump, I believe, has the best intentions and wants to fix this country. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You have a man that probably has 1,000 or more politicians speaking in his ear. He has 77 million plus people counting on him to try and fix it. That man's under a lot of stress. And he's just a man. He will make mistakes. But he's not going to know he made mistakes if we, the people that elected him to do a job, don't tell him, hey, we think you're making a mistake. I mean, not trying to be a jerk, but, and I really thought Trump learned from 2016 with, the Gates thing, the RFK thing, Gabbard. Then he put, when Gates dropped out, he moved Bondi in. I have mixed feelings on her. I don't think that she is the best person for that position. Gates was a lot better. Yes, Hillsdale College. I'm sorry. What did I say, Alex? What college did I say? I meant to say Hillsdale. Whatever I said before, as far as colleges, it was a long time ago when I went there. Forget that. Thank you so much, Alex. It's Hillsdale. That's why I need to write more notes. But then, because I'm getting older, I have Joe Biden moments. Sorry, folks. But back to what I was saying. The same politicians, Trump selected Bondi, which I don't think was the best choice. But I was like, okay, it's not completely terrible, but not the best. But then him backing um, Johnson, I mean, Pence, Johnson, the only thing different is the last name. That's it. That's the only difference. Hey, New York Gunner, how you doing? Um, I mean, there's no difference. Trump has shown in the past that he's not always the best judge of character. Look at Ray, look at Barr, look at Pence. He took Dr. Fauci's word. Not saying he's dumb, not saying that he's controlled opposition, not saying any of that, saying he's a man. I make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time doing videos. And I always appreciate it when you guys pointed out that I made a mistake. Because if you don't point it out, how am I going to know? That's what I was trying to get at with my videos and my post about, really, Johnson, that's the best we've got. People listen to Johnson, they listen to Crenshaw, they listen to all these guys tell them that if the government shuts down, then the soldiers won't get paid, and Social Security will stop, and Medicare will stop. No, we've had the government shut down before, and them things don't stop. The Congress can shut the government down and still support individual things like the military, like Social Security. But this is how they do it. They rule us with fear. There's only two things in this world that have any power. That's money and that's fear. That's why rallies don't work, and that's why I say voting really doesn't work, because they will get you to vote however they want using the fear that your loved ones aren't going to get paid, the government's going to shut down, everybody's going to starve to death, this and that. And it's absolutely not true. It's a lie. I will never call myself a Republican ever again. I'm not a Democrat. I am a constitutionalist. That's what I care about. That we follow the Constitution the way the founding fathers wrote it, just like we should try and follow the Bible the way it was written. And I'm not very good at doing either one, to be honest with you, but I try. The other thing is, you know, we have people saying we need term limits on politicians. I get that. I'm all for term limits, but we'll never get them. They'll never vote to do anything to restrict themselves. Ask your friends, your family, and your neighbors if they've ever voted in a primary, if they've ever voted in a midterm. Ask them when they vote for president who's their senator, who their congressmen are. Hey, guns and water, and who they voted for. Most people will go vote Trump for president and then Republican straight party ticket. If you don't vote against the Mitch McConnells, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Lindsey Grahams, then of course they'll never get out. You can, every one of us, if we did what our founding fathers intended for us to do and wanted us to do, if we went out and voted, term limits wouldn't even be an issue, because when you get these McConnells, these Lindsey Grahams, these Schumers, these Pelosi's in, and they don't represent you, they don't do what you want them to do, then you vote them out. But now they've been in so long, they've built so many protections to protect themselves from getting voted out, bent the rules, changed the rules, and everything else. It's going to be extremely hard. I mean, I'm trying to be as nice as I can about this, but the reason why our country's screwed up is because of us, because we didn't do what needed to be done. How many people vote in their city elections? How many people know who the city council is, who the school board people are? How many people even know who their senator for their area is or who their congressman is? If people don't know these things, how do you change it? There's people out there that know the Constitution way better than me. I believe the crazy heathen probably knows the Constitution better than me. He might be a good one to ask questions. Me and him, I consider him a brother. We just don't see eye to eye on some things. He just he believes that rallies still work. I don't. Rallies don't do anything. Politicians laugh at us. The only thing that makes a politician do what you want him to do is fear. Fear of being kicked out of office, or fear of the people taking their country back. And they don't have any fear of either one. So why should they change? Why should they tell you the truth when they can tell you that Trump can't get elected unless you vote for Johnson speaker? You can't drain the swamp by endorsing the swamp creatures. It's just not going to work. And like I said, Trump's got so much going on in his head. I guarantee it. I talked to we got 23 people in here right now, and I have to keep glancing down at notes or stopping for a minute to think. And I'm only dealing with 23, 24 people right now. Trump has thousands of people in his ear. Like I said, 77 plus million people expecting him to do something. They're counting on him. The man's under a lot of stress. I wasn't saying when I did that video saying that you shouldn't, you should reject Johnson, and that wasn't anything against Trump. It's how does Trump know that you don't want something if you don't tell him? 99% of the people that were telling me, well, what do you want? You want Hakeem Jeffries to win, or Trump can't take office if we don't vote for Johnson? All said, I don't like Johnson either, but we don't have no other choice. We don't have any other choice because they give us no other choice, because they lie to us, and we don't even know that they're lying because we don't even know our own laws, our own government, our own constitution. Sorry, didn't mean to drag this on and rant. I just wanted to explain this to people because Holy crap, I think this is the most people I've had in here since my old channel. This is 30 people. Some of you that have been with me for a long time know that I had a channel before this that same name that at one point was 24,000 subs at the highest point, and then it dropped down, and then it averaged out right around 20,000 subs. And that channel originally started out as prepping and guns. And I let politics get into it, and when I did, it didn't take long after that for YouTube to just completely kill the channel. And that's why I don't do very many politics on this channel. Hello, Wandering. Hello, Stephanie. I'm trying not to miss anybody, but you know, I felt that it was important to explain these things to people because we can't fix it if we don't understand it. We can't change it if we don't even know how it works. And like I said, there's people out there a lot better than me. But my recommendation is read the 12th Amendment, read the 20th Amendment, read the uh, ECRA Act of 2022, and then go to one of these constitutional attorneys on YouTube if you don't understand it or something, and just ask them the question in their comments. What does this mean? What does that mean? There's good constitutional attorneys that have channels on here. William Kirk, Four Boxes Diner, guys that are really intelligent. That I'm sure if you send them an email or if you just asked in the comments, they'd be more than willing to help you understand the parts of the Constitution that you don't understand or the amendments. But like I said, this whole thing was just I wanted to explain to you that 90% of the Republicans in Congress are not Republicans, they're rhinos. So don't expect them to tell you the truth. Of course, they're going to tell you that if the government shuts down, Social Security is going to stop, soldiers aren't going to get paid, nobody's going to be, the police aren't going to get paid, this isn't going to happen. It's bullshit. I don't know how else to say it. Becoming dangerous. Damn, I wish you got in here earlier. You probably, matter of fact, I wish I'd have thought to ask you because I'm pretty sure you're better with the Constitution than I am. And you could have explained the 12th and the 20th Amendment. And again, the Electoral Count Reform Act and how we didn't need Johnson to get Trump in because it's already a done deal. But anyway, Becoming Dangerous has a channel and he explains a lot of stuff. This is probably my last political video for a while because, like I said, I'm working hard to build a new channel and people get their feelings hurt way too easy. I mean, I did two little funny videos about Glock, and the Glock fans got their panties twisted up in a knot and just told me how they were unsubscribing and this and that. And it's just, that's why I don't joke around in videos. I try not to do political videos because no matter what you do, you always offend a large group of people one way or the other. Tomorrow I have a video coming out I did with a buddy of mine today, and it's strictly a gun video, no politics. You know, it just a good gun video on the evolution of gun collecting that between me and him and the evolution of what we started out carrying to what we carry now. But like I said, folks, if you've never read the Constitution, you should read it. You should have a Bible on your bookshelf. You should have a copy of the Constitution on your bookshelf. And if you don't understand it, there are people that you can reach out to, like I said, constitutional attorneys on YouTube that I'm sure would explain it to you. Other people that are smarter than me that understand the Constitution. I know Becoming Dangerous understands the Constitution better than me. I was just fortunate enough to know a constitutional attorney. Matter of fact, one that beat the crap out of Whitmer with her executive orders and that. They got it all declared unconstitutional. That explained a lot of the Constitution to me when I used to believe in doing rallies and I was hanging out with her, and she was a wonderful person. Don't know if she wants to be associated with my ugly self, so I'm going to leave her name out of it. Yes, it was written in plain English, but sometimes the way they spoke English compared to how we speak English now can be a little bit hard to understand, or at least for me. But like I said, I was illiterate until I was almost 25 years old, so I'm no great scholar or nothing else. Um, anyway, if any of y'all got questions or whatever about not just this video, any of video I've done recently or in the past, wherever, go ahead and shoot the comments. I won't keep you guys much longer. We've been on here almost a half hour, probably go another 5 minutes or so, and I'll kill this off. But like I said, I just wanted to explain to people how we got where we're at, why we're where we're at, and why we'll never get out of this, why we're going to be screwed if we don't start teaching generations below us and about the Constitution, about how our government works. They're going to believe this bullshit that they're being told by both right and left about this. We're a democracy and all that crap. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. We have a constitution for a reason. I hear people say all the time, this is another one that really chaps my ass. They'll say, well, the Constitution protects our freedom of speech. The Constitution protects our Second Amendment. The Constitution does not protect anything. It doesn't grant you anything, and it doesn't give you anything. The Constitution was written to restrict the government from interfering with your rights. It was never, these are God given rights. They're not Constitution given rights. They're not politician given rights. None of that. The entire Constitution was literally written to restrict how much power that the federal government had. And that's it. It has nothing to do with you having the rights or protecting them. It's only to put a choker collar on politicians. That's the only thing that Constitution was written for. Yes, they're God-given rights that every American born in this country has, like I said, nothing to do with the granting of rights. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and try and preach to everybody because, be honest with you, 10, 12 years ago, 15, well, no, I'd say 12 years ago, 2000, well, I started really getting into politics and focusing on politics in about 2000, I'd say 13. Um, I was really frustrated with Obama and couldn't understand why he was doing things he did. And I think that's the first time I really looked at the Constitution and shortly after took a constitutional class. Up until then, I just believed what politicians told me because, I mean, they're politicians. They're supposed to represent us, right? If you're representing me, you wouldn't lie to me. You wouldn't tell me something that's not true if you're supposed to be representing me. So the Obama era was when I started really paying into politics. Before that, I just go vote for Republican every time, every presidential election. Never voted in a primary, never voted in a midterm, never voted for anything local until I started paying attention more during the Obama era and I actually started voting for primaries, midterms, local things, and that once Trump got in 2016. So that's when I would say I woke up. So it's not like I've been this great constitutionalist. Not that I'm great at anything, but I am a legend in my own mind. But I became a constitutionalist around 2017, 2018, where I no longer give a crap about Republican Party or Democrat Party or Libertarian Party or Green Party. I care about the Constitution. And if a politician is constitutional and they support the Constitution, then I'm good. If they're not, then I want nothing to do with them. I could care less. To me, they're nothing. When I was growing up, politicians referred to themselves as representatives. They would come on the news, they would come on the TV, and they'd say, as your representative, this, or as your representative, that. Listen to any politician. I don't care who it is. If they come on a video on YouTube or on the TV and they're talking to the camera, they say, as your elected leaders, this, as your elected leaders, that. And that's why they lie to you. And that's why they tell you Trump can't get in unless you vote in, Johnson for speaker. And, oh, no, we have to compromise with the Democrats and give them this and this and this. Because if the government shuts down, then there'll be no police, there'll be no uh, law enforcement, there'll be no social security checks, there'll be none of this. They can fund any part of anything and cut the rest off. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know anything except for what they want to tell you. They want you to be dumb and they want you to believe the bullshit lies that they tell you because that's the only way they can control you. They can control you if you don't know. If you don't know your rights, then they can tell you that your rights are whatever they want you to believe they are. If you don't know how your government works, they can tell you how your government works. However, they want you to think it works. No politician out there is going to cut their own throat. I mean, like I said, they just tried to vote to pass raises while the rest of America's struggling. That'll tell you right there. They're not out for you and they're not out for me. They're out for themselves. Why would Crenshaw get so pissed off that he can't do illegal insider trading? I mean, you can't do that. I can't do that. We go to jail right away. But Crenshaw can do that. Pelosi can do that. They don't. They're not. They don't look at us as equals. They're not our representatives. They truly believe that they are our leaders. And the only leader I got is God. That's it. That's the only leader I got. They don't lead me. They don't lead you. But knowledge is power. The more you know, the better off you are. The better off you can fight back against corruption like that when they tell you we don't have no other choice. When they tell you, well, it's we're a democracy and we have to reach across the aisle and work with the left because that's just how our government works and that's how it's designed. No, our government was designed that a majority of the people want something. They elect somebody to represent them, and that person pushes that thing through the aisle. Not, well, we'll give you this, and we won't ask for this if you give us that. Compromise is not what we, compromise is not representing us. Compromise is screwing us. We can't compromise with them. The left never compromises when they're in charge, when they're in control, but they always seem to get whatever they want. Whether it's bringing in illegals, whether it's losing people, uh, different client lists not showing up, not getting exposed. It's funny how the left and the rhinos always get what they want, but then a conservative or a real Republican that's not a rhino or a constitutionalist is the only ones that has to compromise. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna try and look through these comments real quick. It'd be easier for me to do it on this computer. I left it go too long and it went into hibernation mode. Come on. All right, I want to read some of these comments and make sure I didn't miss anything important. It's too hard to read them on that little phone that I'm using for a camera. But anyway, that's.
Not spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week.
Hang on a minute.
On track with Factor. Fresh, never frozen meals at your fresh house. This saves us so much time when we're chasing around our toddler. I can get all the nutrition I need without having to obsess over it. I never run out of tasty, nutritious dinners thanks to Factor.
Factor has over 40 different dinner options.
Like Protein Plus and Calorie Smart.
I never thought eating clean could be this easy and taste this good.
All right, let me turn this down. Now I can look in the comments here and see if there's anything that I missed. Washburn, yes, the sheep has a third horn. It's actually a Jacob's ram, and they can have anywhere from 2 to 6 horns. I shot that on a hunting trip where I also shot that boar over there. First hunting trip I ever took my son on when he was 12 years old. And he shot a massive pig. Absolutely, guns and water. If the government can give you a right, it can take it away. Yeah, I don't watch mainstream media at all. Bean Day at all. Thank you very much, Cheek Patriot. You know, becoming dangerous by the picks that he started picking just recently. It's really starting to look that way, brother. Yeah, that doesn't look good for 411 adaptive when you're having meetings with the opposition. I agree, guns and water. Bean Day, what would it take for the real American people to unite? It would take people to actually get up and do something. I mean, I used to go to the Second Amendment rallies every year for many, many, many years. And I think the biggest Second Amendment rally I ever seen at the Capitol was maybe 1,500 people. On average, it seemed like it was about 400 or 500 people. I can get more than 1,500 people to show up to a high school football game here in town. People have to want to fix their country. They're going to have to want to do these things. And if a football game or Hollywood or dinner is more important, then there is no way to take it back. You know, it's just not going to happen. How many people do you know that during COVID, and I'm not talking about people that were elderly or people that had health conditions, how many healthy people do you know that said, I will not take that vaccine, I will not take that vaccine? And then when politicians started saying, well, if you take it, we'll allow you to go to the movies, we'll allow you to go to dinner, we'll allow you to go to football games. And then everybody I knew, just about, except for a handful, all of a sudden just jumped in line to take that vaccine. You know, I'm not going to take it, but then it was, well, you know, I got to have a life. I can't live cooped up in my house for the rest of my life. Well, guess what? I didn't take that vaccine. And I didn't stay in the house and I didn't stay cooped up. I went and did whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, because I am a free man. I am an American. I'm not a prisoner of the state or anything else. But if, just like compromising and giving up this to get that with Democrats, you know how the rhinos do? They'll give away, well, you can have some automatic guns, but you can only have 10 round magazines instead of 30 because we got to compromise. Well, it's still an infringement, and people allow it to happen. They go along with it. I mean, if people don't stand up, you can't change nothing. I mean, it's just plain and simple fact on how it is. I mean, if we compromised by voting Johnson in as speaker, then when he tried to pass them the 1,500-page bill in the middle of the night, there's no consequences for trying to stick it to us when he knows he's just going to get elected as speaker again. I mean, McCarthy screwed us once, and they instantly kicked him out of the speakership. Johnson's done it 3 times and then just gets re-awarded again with a new speakership. If there's no consequences, then why should they change? Why should they not stick it to us? Just my thoughts. Yeah, I got kicked out of a few places uh, because I refused to wear a mask. Don't care. I told the owners of the company I work for, if you're going to pass this vaccine mandate, tell me now and we'll part ways. I don't care. I got a great job. Pays real good money. Takes real good care of me. My my beliefs were more important than money, and I wasn't backing down on my beliefs. Period. And I don't knock anybody that took the vaccine because they're elderly and they thought that they had to do it to protect their health. I don't blame people that did it because they had a couple kids at home and a wife and they were young and guy couldn't afford to move out or to lose his job, lose his house and everything else. What I'm talking about is the guys that stood there and said, I will not take it. You cannot make me take it. Up yours, I'm not gonna. And then they did it so that they could go to the bar and watch a football game. They wanted to watch the Super Bowl at the bar. They weren't even happy watching it at home. They literally took the vaccine so that they could go hang out with a bunch of other people in a bar to watch the Super Bowl. If you're expecting them kind of people to stand up and take their country back, you're going to have a long wait. Yeah, my whole family, for the most part, did not take the vaccine. Yeah, I feel the same way becoming dangerous. For the most part, I feel the same way on that. Sealed the deal for me too, for the most part. There's a few people I know that originally took the vaccine right off the bat that did it because, I mean, they got prior health conditions and that, and they really thought it was in their best interest. I don't hold it against people like that. Like I say, I don't even hold it against a guy that, in his early 30s that's got a couple kids that, he's got a house payment, 2 car payments, and got to feed the kids and all that, and was worried about if he loses his job, losing everything he's worked for and that. Like I said, I can't even hold it against somebody like that for taking a vaccine. What I can hold it against is people that did it because they wanted to go to a bar or they wanted to go to dinner or they wanted to go to a movie, stuff like that. Them were the people that I hold it against because they literally did it for no reason. They took it for no reason. After they said, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to stand up, I'm not going to do this. But, well, I want a little bit of easy comfort. I want some comfort, so I'm going to take it. Yeah, I mean, there's people that literally were had existing health conditions. I mean, were scared to death that if they got COVID, they were going to die, and they took that vaccine. How can I judge somebody for doing what they thought was right? I could judge somebody that did it because they just wanted to go drink beer and watch a stupid ass football game. I haven't watched a football game since Colin Kaepernick took a knee. When they didn't kick him out of the stadium and off the team, I said never watch football again. Just like when I drink my antifreeze, if you notice, I drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. Why? Because I will never ever drink a Bud Light again. I don't care if they were giving it away with $100 bills every box. I would not take it. If we don't stand up for what we believe in, if we compromise and sacrifice, we're never going to win. We're never going to get ahead. We'll just always be where we're at right now. But I hope everybody had a great New Year's. I took the whole week off. Decided as I'm getting old, I'm not feeling it working in the cold. So until next time, I'll see you on the flip side. Hope everybody has a great night. Thank you.